What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Serie A audio experience with IFTV. It's been a strange day. We've had no WhatsApp. We haven't had our group chat. There's been no Facebook, not that we use Facebook anymore. We just got Instagram back. But more importantly, that's not the only thing that's back. More important than Instagram, Ludovico is back on the podcast. Grande Ludo. Welcome back.
Glad to be back. Thank you for having me, as always.
Has there ever been a better return than this right now? Napoli 7 for 7, and Ludovico, you returned for this podcast.
Well, we've been in this situation before, and we have to be realistic. We're still dreaming, and if it's a dream, don't wake me up. But I'm also very realistic that it's not always going to be like this. It's going to be ups and downs. Like the season is very long, but we're very hopeful and
enjoy.
We're looking forward to a great season.
Cheers!
Cheers
to the Amato that you bring to us. Peter's got no more. Michael doesn't drink.
I didn't drink. There we go. Hopefully, to many more amazing games. I mean, I think the Serie A, Ludo, we haven't had you on this season, but the Serie A this season. Do you remember this competitive over the past decade, that you can recall how competitive and exciting it's been throughout all the games, not just the top teams?
Well, it is a particular season after COVID and also the market and not many teams buying and a lot of teams in debt, especially. Mm-hmm. I won't say just Serie A, but let's say all over the world, and the fans are coming back, and that's a real positive thing, that the fans are back in the stadium, and that's what you need, that 12th player to cheer your team on. So things are getting back to normal, but it is competitive because you don't have that team that above everyone else due to the market, the buying power, no money around, and it looks pretty. You have 3-4 teams that are going to compete this season. For the Scudetto.
There's 3 that are doing unbelievable that I was watching this weekend, and we had some doubts coming in here, and I wish my dad was here, and if he comes before we finish, I'm gonna bring this up one more time. But Ludovico, just so that you know, first of all, I know you've been very busy, so that's why you haven't been able to come on the podcast. It worked out because Antonio's away. He's in Miami. We leave him. We forget about him over there, and we bring you back right now. And Antonio and my dad both had Napoli before the season started, finishing in 7th place.
Wow.
7.
What do you have to say about that?
No, it's...
should we disown them?
Napoli... Should we hit them?
Should we beat them up? Should we kick them off forever?
Should we pop their tires?
I should probably clean the chair because I'm sitting in Antonio's chair. No, the thing is that Spalletti officially, quote unquote, became the coach of Napoli back in January. De Laurentiis had the contract signed in January. So I think Spalletti had 6 months to study the players, to study the alternatives. And one thing I like about Spalletti, he changes things on the fly. He reads the game really well, and he adapts really well to the opponent. So he had a talk with De Laurentiis, and he said, "Okay, I know there is no money. You cannot buy me players. I don't want players. But promise me one thing: you're not going to sell anyone." And De Laurentiis kept that promise. Napoli, the big names that were supposed to leave, Koulibaly, Fabian Ruiz, nobody was sold. Napoli kept, plus you have the other players to keep the bench stronger, and that's how it became competitive. But what I like about Spalletti is that he adapts to the opponent and to that specific game. He has a great group with leadership on and off the field. And the results are starting to come.
But let me ask you, since I said that they had them finishing in 7th, I will say us 3. I swear to you could go back and search it. We had Napoli in Champions League. Us 3 believed. Peter, Michael, and I. We all thought that Napoli was going to do great. Your expectations as a Napoli fan coming to the season, what were they?
Champions League,
4th place.
Well, Champions League, 2nd, 3rd, 4th place. I think Napoli should have been in Champions League back in May. That game against Verona, but we deserved to be in Champions League. Now we have a different coach with alternatives that knows how to read the game, adapts to the game. He makes changes on the fly, and we saw it yesterday against Fiorentina. Even the formations, you go from the 4-2-3-1 to the 4-3-3 within seconds, they adapt really well on the field. And the team is always balanced. 2-3 goals so far. They scored on Napoli, 3 goals.
Okay.
And
That's crazy.
the forwards, a lot of forwards do score. It's not only
2 of them happened
Osimhen. So we are a very balanced team. Finally, Fabian Ruiz has his position on the field. Sometimes Zielinski cannot find that coordination, that balance between the forwards and the midfielders in order to find his spot. Then you have Politano having a great season. Lozano, they're both starters. And then you have people coming off the bench, Elmas, that are doing a great job. And
I like him a lot.
And you haven't even mentioned Mertens. Mertens
is coming back. Mertens is coming back. He got a few minutes yesterday.
Yeah.
Demme is also coming back. Yeah. And then the great, player that we basically was a gift from the sky, let's say, from San Gennaro, from the Saints, is the midfielder that he fit right in.
Anguissa,
fit right into that.
And don't forget Unas too. Unas is another player that.
Well, I always liked Unas because he's one of the few players in Serie A. He has that burst of speed that could take a man on 1v1 and create that scoring opportunity, the cross, and have that superiority on the opposite side that create the.
We talk so much about all these teams that win and the debt that they accumulate. Inter, one of the first teams, obviously Juventus, Barcelona. I'm saying
he's
going
to that.
As far as like Juventus has more debt than Inter last year.
241 million lost.
Juve has more. Check it.
Marco's accountant over here. He has it on the
That's
chart.
my part-time job.
Check it. No, but
sound like Antonio there.
I'm serious.
Show me that.
But what I was going at was Napoli has been one of the most profitable or healthiest team, as far as books are concerned, than any team in Serie A for sure. And also with that, they've also made Champions League for a good amount of times out of 10 years, let's say.
Been in Europe, not only Champions League, but since De Laurentiis purchased the team back in 2000, I forgot yes, he always try to keep the balance. But one thing that I as a Napoli fan will regret was that famous year when we came in second to Juventus with 90 points. Yeah. And in January, no one was purchased. And I believe the team deserved.
Why are you smiling,
He could have.
He needed to make
the team for the spring, in order to reach that Scudetto, and that was a great opportunity. And he said, "No, this team is fine like this. I'm not spending a dime." And I think that's the regret
that year
of a lifetime. I think that was a great opportunity back then.
Yeah,
you're very happy. You're very happy, which is fair. Mike is very happy because one of those 3 teams that's doing really good that he supports that he can never say is doing really good. You're obviously super happy after the win against Sassuolo where Dzeko came in and won. The thing is, to watch the games, you have to be able to subscribe to Paramount Plus, who is the premium sponsor of our podcast this entire year. The link is in the description. You get 7 days free trial. If you have not gotten Paramount Plus right now, I don't know what you have been doing. Champions League was just last week. You get Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, all these conference leagues, whatever it is, you get everything with Paramount Plus. So big shout out to them. Guys, link in the description, top link in the description. Make sure you go download it. Peter, we'll start with you. How'd you feel about Inter this week? Because Sassuolo was amazing.
Yeah. Sassuolo, let's put it this way. Sassuolo has given a lot of top teams a run for their money. I remember even the game versus Roma, they dominated that game for 90 minutes. This game versus Inter, they dominated Inter for the first 50, 60 minutes by the time Inzaghi actually made the 4 substitutions. Sassuolo, they're carrying on De Zerbi's legacy as far as free-flowing, attack-minded football. I think Dionisi is a young coach that is going to have a great future with another team. He's going to take this team to a certain level, and he'll go on, I think, with one of the top teams in Italy.
Whoa.
No, I really do. I like the way he's continued this team's ability to play and really dominate in possession.
Sounds like a Sarri story.
Yeah, that type of
starting from Empoli and then going to a
and
team.
One thing in particular Dionysius and Sassuolo are trying to do this year is being more aggressive or bringing the ball forward a lot quicker. Where De Zerbi would try to keep that tiki-taka, I would guess, like Spanish style, where you're not always going into
a quicker transition.
Exactly. And you have the players to do it. Berardi and Boga were amazing.
Yeah, they were really good,
amazing.
Man.
Boga, that guy, when he's on, he's probably one of the hardest players to catch. He's so quick.
And
he can beat you.
man.
Yeah, he can beat you on the dribble. He can cut in left. He just needs to be able to increase his goals and actually take shots and do the damage that is needed. But Inter were in difficult position the first half. They couldn't even move the ball. A lot of lackluster passes from some of our better players. De Vrij, Skriniar, Barella, Brozovic wasn't able to get on. So it was a big disconnect from Inter's midfield and attack. We finally tried, and I was always interested in seeing a Correa Lautaro. It happened once before this season, but Correa got injured, and it did not look good this time around. But I think also it's because versus Sassuolo team, you needed someone to be able to hold up play. You needed someone to be able to slow down a game and bring that team up, the midfield up. But I have to say, I've been always, I would question Inzaghi's substitutions a lot of times in this past season, whether it's taking out Brozovic in the 54th minute. I think it's a player that has to always play because we don't have another player that can play his same position. Or if you put Barella in that regista role, you miss out on the chances that he can create going forward in that number 8 role. But he made 4 substitutions right away. And Dzeko, literally the first ball he touches, he puts it in the back of the net. And you saw the Inter team completely change. Even Vidal, I thought he had a very, very good game because he added that intensity and he added that defensive presence that maybe this Inter midfield was lacking and they didn't have. So I was impressed. I think the second half, Inter went out and they deservedly got the 3 points. I know that there was a red card shout, right, versus Andanovic. The interpretation of the referee seems like Andanovic, when he did foul the player or the attempt to foul, he lifted his arms up like this. And a replay, you see that he does get hit.
Does touch him.
But he is like not attempting to play the man. And you see the Frel, who was it? The Frel, right? The Frel kind of fall. So I guess in that part, should VAR have been used and intervene in that case? As a foul last man. I don't know what the rules are as far as VAR.
Was it a foul?
I don't know. Regardless of, I think it could have been.
Would you have given it if you were the referee? Would you have given it in that situation?
Probably not.
Ludo?
I would have.
Yeah.
I think it's a red card.
The only thing I have a problem with not giving that and then giving the penalty on Consigli. Yeah, I do.
Come on.
I mean, if you're giving one, if you're going to judge both, like they should have been judged equally, in my opinion.
The thing is, I do feel like Consigli got more in the way, or rather, I think it being more of a foul.
From behind, he took him out, and then he went to go get the ball afterwards.
He like American football, like
yeah.
Okay, so Consigli, you're saying penalty for Inter?
I think it was more of a penalty than the De Frel one.
Was it a penalty?
Yeah.
Yes. You say it was a penalty? Nah, I don't think so.
No,
it's a penalty. 100%.
I think it was. No. Yeah.
I don't think you could call one and not the other.
But I don't think that was more intense. The Consigli one was more intense than the Frel one. I think personally.
Yeah, that I don't agree with. Lautaro Dzeko though, we're doing really good. Second best attack in Europe. What do you think about Inter? You're scared about them for the Scudetto, Ludo?
Well, they are contenders. What worries me a little bit is the Inter at the international level in Champions League. It's not the same Inter as in Serie A. The difference between Conte and Inzaghi has more possession. They play more as a team and not just with the counter-attack like they were doing most of the time with Conte. So I do like Inzaghi's style of play. Dzeko is a goal scorer. He's one of those old-fashioned center forwards, that stays in the box, but you need to service him the ball. You need to give him the ball. He will put the ball in, whether with his feet, also with the head. He has great positioning. He knows exactly, how to attack the space and open up. I do like Inter team. I don't know as far as Champions League, but if Italy does not go forward in Champions League, they are serious contenders for the Serie A.
Mike, if I asked you, there's 3 teams. Would you agree? Napoli, Inter, and Milan are the 3 that you would probably guess will go down for the Scudetto race?
Yeah,
Would you agree?
even more so, I think.
But wouldn't you say that those 3 are probably like the 3 favorites?
Yeah.
Who do you think since Inter's the winner, who do you think challenges them more, Milan or Napoli?
This is a tough. As of now, I think Napoli are in a different gear. Milan did surprise me because they did also have some tough games that they had to play against Atalanta. Milan against Atalanta. I think Milan surprised me a lot. I think they played great football. Didn't really let Atalanta play their game at all. And the stuff that really did pass them, Maignan was there to save the day. I think Pioli really has this team over here. Everyone believes in one another. Even when there's players that are injured, as we've seen Giroud and Zlatan not there, they made a makeshift Rebic as a striker, and they're still managing to pull off these results. So it really goes to show that these guys really believe that they could do something special. And but Napoli have so many weapons off the bench where I feel like they could do something more. So maybe right now, if we're saying it right now, I think Napoli might have a slight edge just because I feel like they have so many players, attacking players that they can bring off the bench that could change a game completely.
On Milan, I was very impressed with them as well. I mean, this season I was wrong in the sense that I didn't think Milan was going to be a challenger for the Scudetto. I really thought this was the year that I've never been a big fan of Pioli as a coach. I never thought that he was going to be a top coach, but he's doing an unbelievable job with the team right now, and we got to give them respect. Atalanta dominated the game in terms of like the possession and going forward and holding the ball, but guess what? Milan's the one who scored the goals, and when they needed to attack, they attacked in the right way. And starting the ball off with Calabria and 28 seconds in from Theo Hernandez, one fullback to the other, and then Tonali who picks up the ball and then finishes it off. I am so thoroughly impressed with the Milan this year. I really think they're going to go all the way, and they're really going to fight until the last day without those guys that you mentioned, because that's very hard.
100%.
I'm happy for Tonali because, by the way, when I was looking up last time, Ludo, you were here, I found a clip of you saying that we need to give time to Tonali. Because last year, all the Inter fans, they were going crazy. You were messing with them saying, Tonali, look how bad he's doing. He's on the bench. Now Tonali, between Kessie and Bennacer, I think you have to say that Tonali's always a starter. And giving time to this youngster
you need
has
to
helped.
give that year of that transition year, just like we spoke about with Lozano a couple of years ago. Last year we spoke about Victor Osimhen. Mm-hmm. You need to give that year, and he came from Empoli, Brescia.
Yeah.
Came, and then playing in Milan a little bit at a time. You don't want to burn these guys. And Milan, to my understanding, is one of the youngest, if not the youngest team in Serie A. And I think Pioli is the right coach. The organization finally understood that based on the earthquake that was about to happen a year ago. They made a mistake, regrets, and now Pioli is back on the saddle and having this group. And I think if not this year, even the following next year or the year after, Milan will be a serious contender.
Who scares you more?
I think everyone is. It's even at this. It's really
Give
even
me
at
one
this
team
point.
that you feel like scares you the most. It doesn't have to be between the two of them. Who do you think feels the strongest that in the end they're still going to be there?
I think it's Milan and Inter. For me, 50-50.
Wow.
That's actually saying a lot, though, about Milan, though, that
true.
it's even 50-50.
100%. I also had a quick question I want to put around the table. It was an interesting question that was brought upon in the watch-along, actually, for the Milan-Atalanta game. I feel like Pioli's always been like a mid-table coach, and now something at Milan, does he prove himself to be better than a mid-table coach, or what's this Milan project which is getting the best out of him?
He's definitely better than a mid-table coach.
Oh.
We can't call him a mid-table coach.
Yeah,
now.
when you say mid-table coach, it also depends on the players that you have. Unfortunately,
The quality that goes out the field,
if you're
of course.
coaching a team that is not of the level to be a Scudetto challenger, you can be Mourinho, Conte, whoever it is, you're not going to reach the
You need
Scudetto
quality.
level.
You need good feet.
So you need the quality, you need the team. Pioli, let's not forget, brought Lazio to Champions League with a team that wasn't as comparable as the other ones when they played that season. So he does have a record of playing good football and as a good manager. I think also he gives that level of stability for a Milan team And as Ludo correctly said, I mean, they were last year, 2 years ago at this point, at the brink of changing everything. Literally throwing everything
The
out.
entire project.
And
Starting from
getting
scratch
Maldini,
again.
Maldini
for
and
Rangnick,
Pioli
right?
for Ragnick.
Yeah.
Okay, and they
Remember
didn't
that.
do that, and it turned out to be a
Success.
massive win for them. They got a young team. They're probably not the youngest team only because of Ibrahimovic and Giroud, but everyone else is.
I think they are, though.
Under
I mean,
25.
I mean,
I think they are.
average,
I think
the
they
age
are
average.
the youngest in Serie A.
The age,
Wow.
the
Yeah.
age.
I
And
think
that's
they
crazy.
still
You have
are.
a 40-year-old and a 35-year-old. So
It's true.
that's
That's a good
you know
point.
that's a testament to say this Milan team could be good for years to come. And now you have a midfield where Tonali, Bennacer, Kessie,
Kessie.
these are guys that all are valid substitutes for each other, and you're going to need the rotation when you play in Europe. And I think even in Europe,
So
they've
unlucky.
had two really big teams to play against, and they held their own. And if it wasn't for certain episodes, maybe they should have gotten some points there. And I think for any team, a leader is so important. And you have Ibrahimovic that has the experience winning anywhere. He holds his teammates accountable, whether it be in the practice or in the game. And that little burst or that little edge can help in the long run. The only thing is you have to see how the season turns out, because I think this year in particular, anybody can really lose versus anyone. I mean, we saw Spezia give this very AC Milan team a lot of trouble. Juventus had a lot of trouble with Spezia. So even Fiorentina, I mean, Fiorentina has made a 180 turnaround.
From last
So
season,
And
yeah.
then Spezia will lose 4-0 to
yeah,
Hellas
and then they
Verona,
lose versus
and
Hellas Verona.
Thiago
Well,
Motta's
listen,
on-
that's always part of
the
these
chopping
smaller
block.
teams. There's a motivation factor when you versus Juventus. Milan, your attention is 100% on this game, and
Oh, yeah.
you're giving your all, and then you lose out on these the points
I
maybe
think
where you
Spezia
could get.
regrets letting Italiano go.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
they
think they
couldn't
could have
do
done
anything.
They
anything.
couldn't keep.
no.
I don't think they
do
could have
anything.
kept him. I don't think it was his choice.
I can't blame Italiano.
No chance.
I love what you brought up about the management, because I think that so much credit. And I know we mentioned Ibrahimovic as a leader, but I've seen different leaders emerge for this Milan side. If you think about Mike Maignan, who's the goalkeeper, who's been unbelievable. Maldini did an unbelievable job getting that backline sorted out with Tomori, who has been a sensational signing. The tackle that he made was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just
Kiev.
made the England national
Yes,
team.
National team,
yes.
yeah.
I mean, Maldini has done an unbelievable job. I know everyone wanted to get rid of
Gazidis.
Ragnick. What?
And Maldini and Gazidis.
No, Maldini's done a great job. Gazidis has just been
What,
on
you
the
in the
side.
background?
Bro,
What are you talking
Gazidis-
Gazidis.
How do you
Gazidis
know?
has
How do
never
you
done
know?
anything.
Gazidis.
Okay, so how did you know when you were saying
I
Maldini
said
doesn't know
both.
anything?
I said both.
What about when Maldini
I
didn't
just
know
give him
anything?
credit, but that was a joke.
Why
I'm
did you say
saying both.
Gazidis didn't know
But
anything?
also,
I did.
Marco, in Champions League, you need people that can put the ball behind.
But
the net.
they've been very. If
haven't
if
had
Milan were in anybody else's group, if they were in any of the other Italians' group, they would 100% get out of it.
No, yeah.
If they were in Juventus's, Atalanta's, or Inter's group, Milan would have gotten.
Milan
out,
got
would get out of the
screwed.
group.
Milan got the toughest
They got
group
the
out of
toughest group.
out of the whole.
And they were unlucky
out of
against
all the
Atletico.
groups. For
But I have
sure.
one question for Peter: Is Mike Maignan the best goalkeeper in Serie A?
Mm,
And if not, who's better?
let me just do.
Because it's easy to say no, but then when you try to think about Musso, Szczesny, Handanovic, definitely not Pepe Reina. After
Rui
what we saw.
Patricio.
I think
No,
today
Rui
the best
Patricio.
goalkeeper in Serie A today for this season is Ospina. Not because he's a Napoli.
Oh,
Just look at the
Spina.
saves, look at the highlights, and look at how many goals he has. He
been
comes
very
up with
good.
some
Yeah.
explosive saves,
Saves.
and the defense for Napoli has been phenomenal
Yeah.
in this Serie
See how
A.
they don't respect us, Ludo.
No, but I was.
So you say
I
The
was,
North
Ospina?
over
No,
here.
I'm saying
When I
for
was
this
first
season.
saying it.
I'll say
I'm not
that.
saying the best goalkeeper in Serie A.
Just this season.
For this season,
Okay.
yes. The
What
first
do you say
7
is the
games, yes. I think
No, it's definitely someone. I was trying to think through all the goalkeepers, but if I have to make an argument, obviously Ospina I think will be up there, but Maignan for the player that no one knew. Right?
correct.
They
New
made
to
it-
Serie A.
New to Serie
I
A.
completely agree with you. Like,
With the
new to
Milan
Serie A,
taking
yes.
the role of Donnarumma,
Yeah.
who
Correct.
just won the Euros, and being able to,
Make
pull
a
off
seamless
the quality of
transition. Right.
saves that he's made.
No.
being
For
the
real.
boss
And-
of a new defense that
Yeah.
guys that you never played with
Yeah.
before.
And also his distribution.
It's so
He's
good.
able to hit the ball
Pinpoint,
and be able to
pinpoint,
move
dude.
the ball. And I think, Maldini definitely had something up his sleeve in
Not
the
Gazidis,
negotiation for Donnarumma's renewal. And he said, you know what? At that point, it's not worth. If we can get a similar quality goalkeeper. And let's not forget, now, I mean, obviously no Milan fan wants to hear this, but you just bought a player for a discount. He plays in Milan, he plays in Champions, plays Serie A. His value is skyrocketing, and you have a real asset there if you were to sell him. But obviously, no Milan fan wants to hear that. Even a Serie A fan, you want the top players playing in Italy, playing. It's great to see that there's not just one or two teams able to compete.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's literally, I know there's probably it's going to end up 3 or 4 teams, but there's 7 teams right now, and we're 7 games in. It's a good amount of team. It's a good amount of games where you can identify who's good and who's bad.
Yeah,
and
now
there's a lot of good
agree with
teams.
You. This is where we started to see like a little bit of the break off, where we started to realize like who's contenders and who's a pretender. That's how I started to feel about it. Where Lazio, after the first like week or two, everybody was going crazy. My dad has Lazio in second place, or had Lazio in second place.
That's why I didn't show up.
Yeah,
we're gonna roast him
that's
again.
Why, yeah. He knew Ludo was coming. He's like, he definitely saw my video. Let's talk about Fiorentina Napoli, because I know we touched about the Napoli, but I want to talk about Fiorentina for a second, because Fiorentina has been a team that's excited me so much this season. A lot of us had said that Italiano was going to really change the team around, and he's proven to have done that. The first half from Fiorentina was great. They even started leading 1-0 against Napoli, and we thought this was going to be a really tricky fixture for Napoli, which it was, not based on the scoreline, even though Napoli won the game. But Fiorentina's really, really a great team. I'm very happy for them. And I know this game, listen, you could lose against Napoli. It happens. What they need to make sure is that they keep this motivation when they're playing against 8 through 20. You got to keep this intensity the same exact level and make sure you get the points, because that's how you get to a Europa League spot. That's how you get to Europe.
Yeah, Marco, I think you said a great... Fiorentina looked like a whole different team, and Italiano's doing great. And we got to give credit to Ludo, who actually spotted Italiano at Spezia. I remember last season we had him on a few podcasts, and he was saying, wow, what he's doing, how he salvaged them and kept them in Serie A with the lowest budget. This guy's doing wonders.
With the payroll, of course.
With the payroll
that Spezia had. When you're at Spezia and you're at Fiorentina, of course, it's two different clubs. Spezia just came from Serie B. This is their second year, season. But Fiorentina has been in Serie A for a long time. What I think Italiano, now coaching Fiorentina, has to learn is, okay, today I think a tie is good. Getting a point against this particular team is
success,
good.
Yeah.
Because his style of play is they pressure really, really high. In order to pressure high, you got to keep the team very short. So that means the defense has to be high. When the defense is extremely high at the midfield line, now you're opening up to the other team, and that's what Napoli adapted to the first half, because Napoli knew with the high pressure and the tiki-taka that sometimes Napoli does, that first touch quality passes, you were not going to pass the Fiorentina midfielders. So Spalletti and Napoli decided to go with the long balls and go over the midfield line and try to get Osimhen 1v1 against the defender, and that's how we got the penalty, and that's how we tied the game. So now, running 150 miles an hour the first half, great soccer. They did the same against Inter, but now the second half, you don't have the strength anymore. You don't have the ability. You can't have the same intensity as you did the first half. So now at this point, what do? You need to a little bit change the game around, put the game to sleep a little bit, have possession, pass the ball back, relax a little bit, and then boom, you press your foot on the gas and you go again. And that's what I see the difference this year in Napoli with Spalletti. Napoli this year, I see a more mature team that knows when to press the foot on the gas and when to put the game to sleep for a few minutes and then readapt again, reorganize, and then start over again. Identify the opponent's weaknesses and hit them at the right time.
And Ludo, 100%, because I feel like last season, with this team coming off a midweek game, I don't think they really could have won this game. They conceded. They didn't look good at all. They had heavy feet. It looks like they were tired, didn't want to be on the pitch. But if you have a play like Osimhen, first of all, with that speed, and you can only stop him by fouling him. you scored the equalizer before halftime. And then second half, Napoli could have won by 2 or 3 goals. They played amazing. So that switch really told me a lot about this Napoli side, saying, wow, Spalletti might be on a different level than we've seen from previous coaches with Napoli that season. So to me, I do feel like, as you said, Napoli did mature. My only question for you is, do you think Spalletti with this team, which I feel like he has a lot of depth, do you see them fighting toe-to-toe with the other teams in the last match days rather than just dipping off how we've seen in the past after the winter?
Can they be consistent?
Well,
That's the question.
Well, it all depends. It all depends that, first of all, as a team, you need to remain healthy. Everyone needs to be on the same page that you need to relax at a certain time and change players and change players around. And you have to be on the same you have to be on the same page all around in the locker room, the players. Even Insigne has a lot to do with that. He's a major role in this Napoli team.
100%.
So it's a lot of factors that go whether you're going to go all the way. It all depends what you got to remain healthy.
But do you see
have to
something
stay
different
healthy.
is what I'm saying from the first 8 rounds to last
I do
few
see a lot of
seasons.
difference.
Okay.
Like I said before, I see Napoli adapting to the opponent. Napoli studying the opponent, their weaknesses, knows when to put the game to sleep. And I feel that Spalletti has this gift. Not every coach has a gift like Spalletti to change the team on the fly, read the game really well, and make the necessary changes. Even when they come off the bench. Look at Politano yesterday, the first 30 minutes. You couldn't stop him because he was fresh, he's in shape.
So
and
fast.
now who do you start? Lozano and Politano. But they both need to understand you're both starters.
Yeah.
You play Wednesday, you play Sunday.
But I would even go to the point that I feel Spalletti has really embraced the Napoli culture. I mean, there's certain things, even in his press conferences, that he's said that has been, I think, pinpoint to the Napoli fan base and Napoli in general as a city against the northern teams, against the more powerful teams. And he's really understood that. Let's not forget, Spalletti had literally a 2-year break where he did not coach the team. And I think over this time, he's kind of adjusted his craft, been able to read games, understand games, taking a little break and sitter. And I think not just Napoli choosing Spalletti, I think Spalletti also chose Napoli as a team.
that.
And he had
recognized-
6 months, like we said before, because he was signed in January, 6 months to
very
study
good
the
point.
culture, the team, the players.
Exactly.
Also-
So I think he has the capabilities to do well with this team. Obviously, we have. I don't think he's going to have a run of what we've seen so far. There's going to be some rough patches, but I think overall he is a great coach. We tend to remember him at Inter. He had to deal with some tough situations with that Inter, changing of the ownership, the Icardi debacle. He really knows how to do it. He also had problems with Roma, with Totti. So there's a lot of history there that we have to see what happens throughout the year. But I think with this Napoli team, he's going to do well. And we tend to forget when he had Roma back in the early 2000s, that Roma team went pound for pound with Inter for a long time. And they played a fantastic version of football. I think he's able to do the same thing with this Napoli team.
And he's got I just want to cut in quickly. He had the most points in Roma's history as a coach.
Yeah.
So that's another huge
Who scares you
achievement.
more? Who scares you more? Milan or Napoli?
The only reason why I say Milan, and there's only one reason, is because of Ibrahimovic. The only thing is,
So
Ibrahimovic.
you're terrified.
No,
of
no,
you,
you're scared of a 40-year-old.
You have nightmares about Ibrahimovic.
No.
right?
The thing, well, the first part is he has to stay on the field. That's the only thing.
You're scared of your
That's
former
not easy.
But
player.
it's not easy. But if you look at that Milan team, there's players that have won before. If you look at the Napoli team, aside from Insigne winning the Euros, there's no player that has actually won. Milan, you have Ibrahimovic, you have Giroud, you have, even Maignan to a certain extent last year won the French championship. So, I don't know. Just for that reason, I would say Milan. But I don't, like
Ludo wants to
Ludo
fight you
said,
right now.
it's 50-50. I think it's still a little bit early to really say, okay, this is the fighting team. But then I just want to say about Italiano, just to make a comment about Italiano. He plays a modern version of the game. This is the game that a lot of people want to see, the high press, high energy. And I agree with Ludo. He has to be able to understand that you can do it at certain times in the game, and you have to be able to settle and control the game. And he hasn't been able to do that so far. He's either won or he's lost. And I think
against Inter and Napoli, two identical games.
Yeah.
First half against Inter, first half against Napoli, identical.
I think
there's
there's also a point that we haven't really realized, or maybe it's a point that we haven't thought about so much. 5 substitutions makes a big difference in the modern game compared to 3 substitutions.
But also who you have on the bench.
Exactly.
Who you bring
So
in.
when you have Napoli, Inter, Milan, Juventus, these teams have a lot of depth. And Fiorentina, unfortunately, do not have those substitutions. They might be able to make 1-2 quality substitutions, but then the rest, it's like you're scratching your head. I don't know who to put. Who can we can't go pound for pound 5 substitutions. And I think that's also a factor that Fiorentina loses out on, or these smaller teams lose out on towards the last stages of the games. And that's also another reason I think that there's been a lot more goals scored in this Serie A, or maybe in football in general, because you have fresh legs, new substitutions, and the game is consistently on a higher level. And
well, it's also the club. Fiorentina's goal is, even the president said it, the coach said it, they want to finish the left side of the standings. I mean, for those viewers that probably do not understand what we're trying to say, in Italy, the standings, usually the way they have it on the newspapers, they show like half of the teams on the left and half the teams on the right side. It's not like here from top to bottom vertically. So Fiorentina's goal this year is to finish on the left side of the table of the
top 10
standing.
positions.
So for Italiano, it's a transition year to start. Then of course next year they will buy a couple of players. They will make some changes. But I think Fiorentina's goal, not this season, but next season, to make it at least to Europa League or the other
Conference League.
Guys,
the other conference.
Unfortunately, we can't end the conversation just here with Fiorentina Napoli. We had a bad incident again at the end of the match with Koulibaly and Anguissa, where there were more racism in Serie A towards them. I saw a tweet that I liked, which kind of expresses
But
how
happened
I
also
feel.
with the Milan player, the goalkeeper, the
Maignan.
week before.
Yeah, that was with that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Again, it happened again this round. Which said, like, just because you love Serie A doesn't mean that you love it unconditionally or you love it at all costs. There are certain aspects that we don't like. Great job from Koulibaly too, again on Twitter, to point it out and to exactly point out who it is. The only thing that we say, we keep reiterating, for us, ban for life. You find the person, ban them for life. There's no 1 strike. There is no 2 strike. It is 1 and done. Adios. We never see you again. You are not allowed. Not even in just Fiorentina Stadium. You're not allowed at any stadium. And it's very good that...
But any stadium, it should be in Europe.
Yeah.
It should not be anywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
You're not allowed in
You know the
because
name
if you're going to do it in Italy...
No sporting
you're gonna
events
do
at all.
it-
No.
I would never
the
let them.
idiots have to stay away from the field, from the stadium.
I hope it trickles down. I know I heard Joe Barone and Comiso, they already
put up press
spoke
release.
about it.
to the
And I hope that level just keeps trickling down and we actually take action and we can ban this and we can start hopefully going towards a better direction. But I'm very proud of Koulibaly also as a man, just for everything that he stands
He's
for.
a leader on and off the.
I love the guy.
field.
King Koulibaly is
King
what
Khalid.
we're gonna call him over here. So we hope for that. Let's talk about a team that I wanted to bring up. Since we're talking about Napoli, Lazio. With Sarri.
Lazio.
I wanted to get your thoughts on this. My gosh, and this is why I wish my dad was here. I don't know what happened. Look, he didn't show up. Look, he kept saying,
Good thing we
I'm
didn't
gonna
wait.
be
We're
here at
saying
6
a win.
o'clock.
Yeah, I know.
It's 6:50 right now. He's terrified
It's a
after
standings.
Lazio
I'm
won.
telling you, he doesn't want to get
Lazio
roasted.
in second place. They lost 3-0 to Bologna in the early match. Sadi after the match was saying that he said it's not an excuse, but we're the only team in the Europa League to play 61 hours after our
Well,
match.
he used to say the same things in Napoli. But the thing is with Bologna and Mihajlovic, when you wake up on game day and you're playing against Bologna, you never know which Bologna is going to come out. And the past 2-3 games, Bologna played disgusting. I mean, Mijalovic
12
probably
goals
kicked.
conceded
Correct.
in 3 games.
Mijalovic probably kicked everybody's ass in the locker room one by one. Turn around, face
The wall.
face your little booth, where you change, and he kicked everyone in there.
Oh, boy.
So you need it. I mean, it was
It's
about
live
time.
scenes.
It was this week. It was Lazio, but I think if it would have been another team, you would have seen a Bologna on fire. They had to prove something, and also Mijalovic had to see for himself: do these guys still want me, or they want me to go? So that was an answer a question that he wanted to go. Do you guys? If you guys want me, show me that you want me still. If you want me to go, then go out there, play like you played the last couple of weeks, and on Monday morning, I called the president and said, "Listen, I'm gone. I resign."
Now for
So
you,
the team stands with, they with me out.
The
They came out
coach,
on
yeah.
fire, and it was Lazio that paid the consequences. But I think it could have been anybody else.
Now for you, since you know Sarri very well, I know he was without Ciro Immobile. He complained about certain things. Do you see some of the similar things? Because this is what everybody was saying online about Sarri being Sarri, with after the match with excuses, and we're going to fight the league and we're going to do this and that. Do you see similar things from him?
Well, Sarri is a maniac. Sarri lives on soccer 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He sleeps, he eats. He's always studying Sarri, and he studies his opponent to death. But now what I think people still have in the back of their minds is, Sarri, we're going to see the Napoli style of calcio. It's not going to happen again. That was a perfect roster.
Why?
With perfect technical players, with great technical abilities.
Lazio's a great team,
quality
though.
feet, but not the same quality feet
Why
that
not? The
Napoli
midfield is great.
that he
The attack
inherited
is-
from Benitez. So you're never going to see that style of play the way you saw in Napoli, where you had 70-80% possession and 70-80% playing on the half of the opponents.
You
That's
can't
not
argue that the midfield of this Lazio is better than the midfield of
it's not
Napoli.
only the midfield. It's how you come out with ball on your feet from the back. I mean,
Defensively,
all around,
I agree with
the way.
But attack-wise, I mean, their attack is amazing. They got Ciro Immobile, who scores I don't know how many goals. He's fantastic. They got Felipe Anderson and
Pedro.
Pedro.
He's
The
not
midfield
Higuain.
is amazing.
They're old,
okay,
those
but
guys.
he's Higuain level. He scores
Not
30
not
goals.
not technically.
Okay, but he can still score you
He
30
scores the
goals.
but he's
So
not
how is
gonna
it?
be
How
able
come
to.
it's not the same?
Because you need, in order for Sarri to have his way, his style of play, which will never be identical to Napoli. Like it was not identical in Chelsea, it was not identical in Juventus. It's not going to happen again. That cycle with those type of players, you need time to adapt to Sarri. Remember, his practices are extremely boring and repetitive drills. Day after day, afternoon after afternoon, they're repetitive. And players do get tired of Sarri's way of coaching or understanding the game. Remember, it all happened the last moment. Inzaghi leaving and going to Inter, he didn't have enough time to study the team and the players to say, I need this guy, I need that guy, buy me this, buy me that. This guy's not good for my... He didn't have time to adapt to all that. So you have to give the guy the guy time to...
But I would also
see.
say that Sarri, even when he first came to Napoli, if you remember, those first 6 months,
Yeah.
Napoli were terrible.
We lost, I think, the first 2-3 games. I believe we lost.
And I remember everybody wanted Sarri out. And then they hit stride, and then the following year, they had the year that they had, and so on. And the rest is history. So I think Sarri and his style and his repetitiveness and the way that he wants his teams to play, it takes time. It's gonna be a while before you actually start seeing Lazio doing the kind of patterns or the passing that he wants. You'll see at times, because the team is pretty good in the midfield. They have some great midfielders technically, so you'll see at times that they'll be able to play what Sarri wants. But it's not going to be a game a memoria, right? It's not going to be the drill that he wants and he wants to see over and over again.
Yet or ever?
Yet, because I think with Lazio, if you make the decision to get Sarri, you can't make the same mistake that Juventus made.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
you get rid of him after a year. You have to give him the second year. That's just the reality of Sarri. Now, we also had questions because I discussed it before. Juric and Italiano, these guys in 1 month they've transformed the teams that they've had. But let's not forget, they are looking at it in a different manner. It's not the same tactical approach that
The
Sarri
roster
takes
that
it.
they have, of course.
You know, Italiano and Juric is the high pressure, high intensity. So these are things that you can work on because it's all about the type of training that you do, the physical work, the running, and keeping your team in top shape, and then just learning the patterns of how to press and how to win the ball back and then play the ball to the strikers.
Ludo, where do you think they're going to finish, Lazio? I'm just wondering.
First year Sarri, Lazio, I would say between 3rd and 5th.
3rd and 5th.
What an open
That's pretty
bracket.
high. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
three and 4 are very different than
Oh,
5.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
for sure.
two of them are
That's,
champions.
that's high.
I mean,
okay, that's different.
That's probably higher than I would put them. I would probably put them in 5th or 6th. I actually had a question that I wanted to ask you guys in terms of this Lazio. I feel like I've been a big advocator of Lazio the past few seasons, and I feel like they've let me down. I feel like we always talk about, not just us but everyone, how great this Lazio midfield is with Luis Alberto, Savic, Leyva. Are they considered that world class, that extremely good midfield if they only show up 1/3 of their games all season?
I think their defense does not help them at all. One of the big things that I was saying coming into this year is I hated the defense. That was the reason why
Okay.
I did not have Lazio in the Champions League, and why when they were talking about the Scudetto and people were talking about that, I said there's no way because the most defensive team will win. And I think that hurts your midfield as well. And I agree with you that they need to be more consistent, but I think that maybe not. For me, Savic and Luis Alberto, they are world class. They're at that level that if you pop them into any team in Europe, they'll be there. And I don't really judge them at the moment. And Savic has been a player that maybe if he had a different president in Lazio, he might have been at a different team.
But we've always seen glimpses of Savic, like, oh, he's so good. But I feel like there's so many games that he fades. Not just him. Like I said, the whole.
It's hard in that team though, as well.
Why is it hard in that team?
Because Lazio does the same thing.
They have a capocannoniere.
The Lazio does the same thing though.
They have a great squad overall.
The team overall fades a lot, and they're very hot and cold. And we expected this. We said 6-7 months, you're not even going to look at Lazio's team because they need time under Sarri. So I'm not judging them now. The defense, it's not that I'm judging the defense now. I knew the defense coming into the season that it made no sense. And I tried to be getting the red card to miss against Inter is so unprofessional from him, who's supposed to be an experienced player. And I get in the moment you could lose your head, but that is very poor from him. And overall, that is not going to work. They'll take time. Pepe Reina screwed up on 2 of the goals. Strakosha has done some stuff also in the Europa League. Europa League. That is embarrassing. But again, like Peter said, Sarri's got a position at Lazio where it's not like at Juventus. You're going to get the time. You should be able to get the time because you're not expected to win right away. Speaking about a coach that looks like he went back to his roots, Max Allegri and Juventus, a 1-0 win against Torino in the derby. The last 3 games I think that we've seen, it looks like the old of Allegri, but you just get a 1-0 win, counterattack, let the other team do whatever they want to do, but you go home with the win. Speaking about the game against Chelsea and then the one against Torino, as we've already said so many times, we're like a broken record that Juric has completely transformed this team. Absolutely agree, and you almost felt bad for them that they ended up losing the game because they played such a great match. I don't remember, in recent memory, ever watching this game because in the past 20 years, Torino's only won once. I don't remember Torino ever pressing Juventus. I don't remember that being a thing. But Juventus did what they did, and Locatelli scored the game winner. As we had mentioned earlier, honestly the only midfielder of Juventus that's capable of scoring. I mean, you watch Rabiot and McKennie, and they're very disappointing. It has to be said. I know McKennie did very good in the start of last season, but he has not shown that same form. He had 3 shots that were just absolute blunders. And considering that Locatelli's the regista, and Rabiot and McKennie are supposed to be the guys that push up, they're the ones that should be, shooting more on target and being able to bring goals to Juventus, yet they aren't.
Locatelli is a great player. And just to go back to what we said before, the Osimhen, the Lozano, and we were talking about someone else. I mean,
Tonali.
Who we talked about?
Tonali.
Right. Locatelli, the same exact thing. You have to give him time in order to adapt to the shirt, to the culture, to Juventus. Not everybody adapts quickly like Chiesa did last year that immediately he paid dividends. And that's the only Juventus player that was purchased that paid dividends immediately, that was able to adapt right away to the city, to the culture, to the legacy
Even
of
6 months.
of
So
the Juventus.
I think even in the beginning, people were questioning Chiesa because Kulusevski was
Correct.
starting. So
But
even he
paid-
took a couple
right.
months.
Now, the play that you just mentioned, the same. It's been already the second year, and there are a few current players. It's not that they're disappointing. They're not Juventus players.
Who?
Well, you just mentioned
Kulusevski.
Rabiot, McKennie, and a couple of others. They're not Juventus players. They're not for the Juventus team. Just look at the midfielder that Juventus has now and the midfielders that they had a few years ago when they reached the final of the Champions League. Compare those names, those players, the quality that they had, and the mentality they had on the field. And now you do the math. I mean, Pirlo, Marchisio,
Yeah.
Pogba. You
Vidal.
had midfielders with
Gente con le...
right, correct. That meant now this team, certain team, and Juventus, I feel they keep putting patches. So now Juventus, Allegri was hired, but I guess Allegri this time said, okay, you want me back? I accept, but don't tell me what to do. I run the show. I substitute who I want to substitute, when and how. Don't tell me how to do things. And Juventus said, yes, you have that green light. So it's probably a transitional year, but Juventus needs players. But of course, they're in debt. They don't have the money to buy players. Look how long it took to buy Locatelli.
It was all summer.
Right.
It was virtually
it was
all
3-4
summer.
months because they have no money. And look how they purchased Chiesa. How many years they have to pay?
It's like 3 years, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
40
3-4 years for
with a
Miso
loan.
to
Not
see
Not even the bank loan.
to see correct to see the money. So a lot of things that are changing. A lot Juventus needs to change and not just put a band-aid on every year.
I'd agree with
You
that.
have a point on that. I just wanted to add that this match was determined, I feel like, by a moment of brilliance, just like when Ronaldo was there. Locatelli scored at the end. I think Juric was doing great in terms of pressing. Didn't really let Juve have too many chances. The reason where I was like, oh, Juric is scared, when he ended up taking out Sanabria and putting in Baselli, and I was like, why would you do that?
He was missing players, though.
Yeah, he's missing
we gotta
players.
Be fair to him.
But by
Belotti.
sitting parking the bus last 15 minutes when it was a pretty even game, I'd say overall. By doing that,
Belotti and Piazza, that's the other guy.
Yeah.
Belotti, Piazza, and Zaza.
that welcomed
hard.
saying, okay, I we'll be happy with a point and stuff like that. But before that, Torino played very good. It could have went either way overall. But I want to see how long this Allegri philosophy will last, because I still don't think Allegri could pull off what he did a few years ago when he was hired by Juventus. There's only a matter of time till the wheels fall off of this thing. They're
But he had
riding it
quality.
to the last
Years
thing.
ago, he had
That's what I'm
quality.
saying.
And
I don't
also
think he
Serie
could
A-
pull,
Serie A was a different
Yeah.
league.
And I don't think he can
Serie A
pull
was
it
a
off.
He
very
had
different
players.
league.
He had
The
players.
teams that year, there was
Oh,
only
yeah.
2 teams
Pete.
that had any...
Napoli and Juve.
yes.
Against Chelsea, Chiesa scored the winner, an Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Against Torino, again an Italian. Both with the assists too, by the way.
Mhm.
Bernardeschi for Chiesa, Italian to Italian. This time Chiesa to Locatelli, an Italian. How has Chiesa stepped up and become the most important player at Juventus?
Yes, and it shouldn't be, but yes.
Why
'Cause
shouldn't it be?
I think so
Well,
too.
the player that should step up and be the real leader is Dybala.
Or Morata.
Morata
I was leading
is a
towards
side
this.
piece. Morata can score you the goals, but he's
Keep
not
going,
your
keep going.
leader. Dybala is La Gioia. He's the one that can play. He's the one that is supposed to be your star player. He's wearing the number 10, and he hasn't stepped up. Obviously, last year was a difficult year with injuries and so on. And then this year, he's gotten out again. But I think Chiesa has stepped up. He's a player that unfortunately is criticized sometimes by Allegri. I don't know if it's maybe a psychological thing to try to see what type of reaction Chiesa might have. But he's a player that I think even with Fiorentina, he's a nonstop worker.
He wants to be
does
the best of
dirty
the
work,
best.
and
He has
you know,
that
and he has that tenacity to always go. He's an energizer bunny.
Energy.
And I think we had the discussion and Allegri's been able to put him a little closer to the goal, and I think you're gonna get the output. Because with Fiorentina, for example, Iachini, he had him playing in a 3-5-2 as the wide midfielder, having to track back, play the whole. All that energy is wasted.
Right.
That made no sense.
And you have a guy that takes a man on
1v1, cuts in and shoots.
He dribbles everybody.
And we saw even within Italy. I mean, he was one of the sparks for the Italy team.
So you like him as a striker?
I like him as a second striker, as a winger. I think his
Close
best
to the
position
net.
is
I like him
is
close to the
as a
net.
striker?
is a 4-3-3.
Well, not right.
Second striker.
Well,
He's a second striker or
Allegri
he's a
said
winger.
that he could become a center forward.
I
For
think
me,
it's only
he's not
for
a center
now.
forward.
I agree
Center
with you,
forward,
Marco.
no, I think
There's Gaetano. Get in.
he has that burst of speed. Could take on a man 1v1. He has that quickness. He keeps the ball very close to his feet.
Mm-hmm.
He shoots in very tight spaces when you least expect it, and he has great vision of the goal. He smells the net from far away.
Mike, center forward or right wing or left wing, whatever.
I can't see him Dybala as
Not Dybala.
Wait,
Chiesa.
I can't see what is it? I can't see Chiesa up there. He fits perfectly on that right wing. I feel like he can cut in. He draws so many players. He can send in a great cross, and I just think whenever I see him there, either the right wing or the left wing, because I didn't really think he could play on the left wing either. But he can interchangeably. He can play
as long
there
as he
also.
doesn't have the defensive work to do. There's been times that he's played him as a midfielder, and you see Allegri screaming at him to track back. And for me, I say no, don't let this guy track back. Let him stay higher up and let him attack. Use your energy for that because the guy runs.
You could get double digits goals from Chiesa in a season.
He can outpace everyone.
Which is so
He can
funny
attract
because a
so
couple
many
years ago
players.
we were criticizing him because he didn't score goals for Fiorentina.
Yeah, exactly.
One guy that I have to say I'm disappointed in is Moise Kean. I do not like his link-up play as a striker.
He's very secluded.
For me, he gets the ball, and he's not linking well with the other striker at the moment. He's explosive. There are times, he could beat his man. He does a nice dribble. He go towards goal. He could work on his finishing a little bit. But my bigger point is that when you're playing him with two strikers, you watch Morata. Morata's link-up play as a number 9 is way better than Moise Kean's. And that's a big concern for me on how is he going to... If you pair him with Chiesa, if you pair him with Dybala, whoever it is, he doesn't link up well.
You have to give him time. It goes back to what we were saying before. You have to give him time. And look why he came to Juventus and who he has to substitute.
That's true. He has competition.
That's a big responsibility on your shoulder at that age.
For sure.
It's a big responsibility. Who he's replacing? The place of the Ronaldo that.
But just in
that
technical
left.
terms, I
agree.
think that's one of the qualities he needs
I
to
agree.
improve
But
upon.
again, you need
He's still
time
gonna
in order
develop
to
that.
adapt,
You
and
don't-
you need time to.
Yeah, no, you need the time to adapt, but I think also his qualities is not that. His qualities is his speed, is physicality, his ability to make runs. He's not going to be the guy to link up. Morata's more of a technical player,
More of
as
a bigger
number 9.
striker.
Trying to play him like that.
Well, the thing is because that's the game that you need to play. You need to have some sort of link up. But I don't know if he's ever going to be the top number 9 that Juventus were making him out to be, 2-3 years ago when, or else they wouldn't have sold him to Everton.
I don't think he's a 20-goal scorer.
But at the end of the day, how
Not
much
for
time
Juve.
at PSG? Let's not
17 goals.
act
PSG,
like. But,
he's versing
okay.
nobody, and he's got the
nobody.
supporting
Come
cast.
on.
The supporting
Rentes
cast that
or
give
Rentes.
they give the ball. If anything, they can give him a fork and knife. And
I mean, when's the last time Kean had consistent games, consistent minutes? At the end of the day, for every striker, you need that confidence
yes.
playing consistently.
You have to give him time. I agree.
And he's a kid at the end of the day.
No, I'm not criticizing. I'm just noticing the quality. What I'm saying is that the quality, if Allegri's playing him as that number 9 that needs to play the ball back and link up, for me, that's not his quality. That's not his good quality. That's
You're
just
saying
what I'm
use
pointing
him for
out.
what he's best at.
I think
Morata's way better at that.
I think that Allegri's main goal this year, and based on what Juventus told them, Juventus said, Allegri,
Don't relegate
this
us.
year we want you, your job is basically to identify in the future who belongs in Juventus and who does not belong in Juventus. Who can play for this team and wear the shirt and who cannot. That's what I think Allegri now has to determine this season. Which players can stay, that he sees something in them for the future to go back to the Juventus of the previous years. Remember, Juventus now is still relying on the old players, on certain players that have been around for many, many years. So now what's the future going to look like? Who belongs there and who has to go next season?
Do they really need Allegri to be able to tell them? I mean, I
Well,
think we were saying it like 3 years ago.
Allegri does have the he does have the experience. He has the Juventus
I get it,
background, the mentality.
I
He's
get it,
been
yeah.
with that club. He reached finals. He won Scudetto. He has the communicative skills, and he said it a couple of times. He said these guys want to play for you.
And I think also his style of play doesn't necessarily mean the top players, because he can sit back and defend, and he'll be able to manage or scrap through with
Great
some
against
results.
Chelsea.
Well, the thing is, versus Chelsea, that's Allegri's game to a T. Sit back,
Worked
wait on the
perfectly.
counter, and I think he'll have more success in Champions League
I
because
agree.
he's not meant to be the aggressor in Champions League. He's going to be the team to sit
That's
back and wait
Makes
and
sense.
pounce. Whereas in Serie A, he might have a little bit more difficulty because the top teams are always going to give.
There
The
he
smaller teams
is.
are always going to give problems to the bigger teams. Juventus have a certain pressure to have to win, and I think he's going to lose out on that. And I think also during a 38-game season, you don't have the same team defensively that you had 5 years ago or whatever it was, where you can come back and win any game.
So can I jump in on because that's interesting what you said.
Welcome, by the way.
Oh,
Welcome
thank
to the
you.
podcast.
Good evening.
Would
you like a drink?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a model.
Yeah,
Mike,
yeah.
you want to grab a model?
Yeah, I need a drink.
I
I'll
would
get a
want
refill,
to.
too.
want to do something, by the way, real quick. Just for you, Ludo. In the meantime, while we get Gaetano's thoughts, I want you to give us your 1 through 7 if you can, or at least 1 through 4. First, second, third, and fourth place. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't. Not now. Think about it. Think about it.
No, we all did 1 through 7. Or 1
I know,
through
but
8,
we also-
and then whoever goes in Serie B.
If you
But
can,
going
if you can.
back to what you said.
And yes, please.
And I listened to what Allegri said. Allegri said every player that comes to Juventus, technically they are all good. In order for you to be selected to come to Juventus, you have to be technically great. Otherwise, you would not come to a great team. So what does he says? What can you teach now these players in order to improve them? And he said what we need to do, and he put somebody like somebody like Rabiot. What can you do for Rabiot? Because Rabiot has got some technique. He's got technically very good. Sometimes you could see he takes off. He goes,
Nice
we
shot.
have to work.
Salud.
Mike, you don't drink?
No.
Salud. So, it is the mental state of a player that when a player comes and he goes to play, what does he want to do in this game? Does he want to score a goal? How many goals did Rabiot score in the last 2 years? He said very few, maybe 5 a season.
I'll get it for you.
Yeah, maybe 5 a season. He said 10 in the last 2 years. But when a player starts the game and you get into that game, what do you want to do in this game? Do you want to score a goal? But then if you want to score a goal, you have to go inside the area and you have to take some shots from outside. And the shots that you take from outside, they got to be on goal, not all the way up. So your concentration, the run that you make if you want to score a goal, those are all things that you have to think, and you have to be able to do it. And that's what he's trying to get out of a player. Hey, you here, do you want to stay here or do you want to leave?
Agree.
Because if you, and he has said this too many times to the midfielders, hey, the midfielders got to score. Hey, I need 10 goals from you. I need 10 goals from you, from the midfielders. But they don't. So
That anger in the guts.
Right.
That's missing.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
And
certain
the purpose,
Yes.
I think it's also the purpose. What is your purpose as Juventus?
Yeah.
Do you feel
And what do you want to leave when you one day you leave as a player? What do you want people to think about you, the kind of player that you were? So those are all things that he's working on.
To your point, his first season, Rabiot scored 1 goal. His second season, he scored 4, and this season so far, he scored 0.
Okay.
So 5 goals.
So 5
in
goals.
2 years? Even worse.
And
So even
we
worse.
started
Damn,
the third.
He's blowing up his spot even
No,
worse.
but we're just saying the stats. Like we're literally just saying
And
the
according
stats.
to him, Rabiot has got the stuff to do it.
But going back to what Gaetano was saying before and emphasizing a little bit what he said, I want to talk about Dybala for 2 minutes. And I agree with him about coming to Juventus. And I feel that Dybala is the type of player, I think he's mentally very weak. Meaning that Dybala feels that, oh, Juventus is not giving me responsibility. I don't have any responsibility. I don't feel important on the team. He goes in depression. If Juventus goes to Dybala and says, listen, you are a man to go to. Now you have the responsibility. You're the main man. We are building a team around you for the future. Now he feels the responsibility, and he also goes into, he cannot handle
The pressure.
I think the second
but he
part's
also
not fair.
the opposite.
still
That's
early.
the way I feel it.
He needs to
Just-
be coddled like
he
you
hasn't
want,
had the
right?
chance.
Only a couple games
Yeah,
in, and he
hasn't had
got
the chance.
injured.
He got
But
injured.
in the beginning, he
Well, how
started.
long he's
well.
been in Juventus though?
Yeah,
I
but
meant this
Yeah,
one. If
but
you're
it-
saying that the pressure.
Yeah,
for
but even
him.
before in the years, remember versus Barcelona. I mean, Dybala single-handedly
Yeah, beat them.
beat that Barcelona team, and he had great seasons.
he had one
But
season that he had
flashes.
like
With Allegri.
16 goals.
With
But
Allegri.
it's flashes of
Okay,
brilliance.
but-
That's why I think Ludo's saying.
But what
Right. But
Ludo
this
said at the
year-
end.
The being
consistency.
consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, but this
Throughout
year,
the leadership.
Allegri
qualities.
told them,
I agree.
this is your
Ludo.
team. That's what he did.
Give
At
them
the
number
beginning of
10.
the season. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, this is your team. And everybody's got to go through Dybala. So now he's got the responsibility. Now we got to see
Now we have
what
to see
happens.
if he
Needs
can
a mental
handle it.
coach.
He can
That's why he was
hold-
crying when he got hurt. Because now, if he keeps getting hurt,
This is a very important season for
Yeah,
Dybala.
right.
exactly.
No,
This is
important season.
almost like a make or break
Yeah.
season for Dybala, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Well, I think also when Juventus signed him, he was, obviously he had the number 10. Then you have Cristiano Ronaldo that comes in and steals the show, and rightfully so. He's one of the best players in the world. So there was also question, remember when Sarri was there, that they couldn't figure out a way to have Cristiano Ronaldo and Dybala play on the same field. How can they don't
both
work
fit.
together? They
Yeah.
don't stuff. And then last year, same thing with injuries and stuff. So he's been a shadow of himself. And I think for Serie A, for Juventus especially, he needs to step up.
So you were talking real quick, because I don't want to. You were talking about Chiesa being a center forward.
That's what Allegri said that he could see him as.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I think he could be a center forward.
Really?
Yeah, because if he plays as a center, he always beats his man, right? So by being a center forward, he's closer to the goal. If he beats one man, it's going to be one-on-one with the goalkeeper. So that's the only thing that I see, because he's fast. He beats his man. The most difficult thing to do in soccer is to beat your man. And there are very few players that can beat the man, and that's what makes the difference, and that's what creates the unbalance on the other team.
Yeah.
Once you beat your man, now the player another
Shift.
player has to come to you, and then that player is free. And if you're smart, you give it to the free man, and now things
One
happen.
pushback,
He's gonna have
though.
less space there,
Yeah,
though.
one pushback I would give is that maybe on the right side or the left side,
There's only
he's
one
got
player.
a little bit more space where a lot of the times the way that he beats his man, and yes, he's a
Right.
great dribbler, but he pushes the ball forward, and
Right.
because he's so explosive, he can beat that.
Right.
But maybe if he plays as a center forward, he's got a guy that's marking him a little
Right,
bit
but
more.
you
tight.
someone else. if
But you
they
can
don't-
give him a try and see if it
Okay.
works.
Yeah, I think Gaetano saying
I
more.
personally, I see as Chiesa as a very explosive player. I do not see him as a center forward because as a center forward, like Gaetano said, okay, you can beat the man 1v1, but also it will be part of the game where you have to play your back to the keeper. You have to receive the ball and hold it and wait
For
until the
support.
team comes up
Yeah.
That's
for
what I'm with
support.
you.
So now when Chiesa has the back to the keeper and he receives the ball, now most of the time these forwards, what do? They have to pass the ball back. I think I see Chiesa more as a trequartista, receiving the ball, looking at the net, or so you say, where can I dribble? To the left and cut in, or to the right and cut in and take that shot from the outside. I just don't see him as a I don't see him as a
He's
center
never
forward.
played that role, so I'm sure it's something that he'll have to work on. And as a number 9, that's when you're going to have your back to the goal. As a winger, you're never going to have that. Even as a second striker, you're never going to really play that way. So I think based on his technical ability, he was able to do it. He's not going to be a Luca Toni type of player that can hold up the ball and get fouled and be the best number 9. I think in a time of need, he can
Right.
fit that role.
Yeah.
But he's better suited on the wing or as a second striker.
you
for
create
me,
the
for his
numbers.
ability.
When you
for his
create the
ability.
numbers attacking, you have
But-
more
but-
numbers than the opposing
But
team.
like you said,
Enough.
in a time of need, I think he's better than Moise Kean.
Yeah, I agree. I agree because
I
he's
think
fast.
I think he made the right decision to leave Moise Kean and put him there.
Allegri's substitutions, I will say, his substitutions have been way better.
So going back to Allegri, Pereira, if you guys remember, he made him a mezzala. Quadrado, he made him a fullback. So now Chiesa is trying to make him is trying to make him as a
Striker.
center
As long
forward.
as he doesn't make him a fullback.
And there was another player, I forget now.
He's
that
done it with so many.
Yeah, he
The
changes.
kid can score. Chiesa can score.
And he has work. So it has.
No, did he do Azamo or was that Conte? It might have been Conte,
Conte.
who moved him. There was somebody else.
Yeah.
He's known for that. He's known for like moving players just like in different
Right.
positions.
I mean, Danilo.
Mandzukic.
That's right.
Mandzukic.
That
Oh,
was
yeah,
the
from a
forward,
winger
winger
to a
That's
left
right.
winger.
That was the player
That's okay.
that I forgot. Mandzukic, the guy was a center forward. He played him on the left.
And he played
The-
good there.
The guy was going up and
Yeah.
down. He played a fullback and then he would go up and give an assist.
Right,
and
that's when
score
they
a goal.
purchased Higuain.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Higuain took
Right.
Mandzukic's place, and
Yes.
he had.
And
so
he did,
Mandzukic
and he did
basically,
well. That was a.
basically, Higuain was
That was a
running
player. I
was
was
trying to
running
think
a
of it.
mile
That
a
was a good
game, and Mandzukic was doing 11 miles a game.
Yeah, crazy. That was insane.
So we talked about everything except Roma. For you, we can start with Roma, but then I want you to give your maybe like 2-3 things that you noticed from this year. Since you didn't go through, you weren't with us for all the games. Maybe take a couple teams and how you felt about them. But we'll start with Roma now, since it's the only team that we didn't talk. They beat Empoli 2-0, so it's not too much of a talking point. But I like that Pellegrini, who
I
renewed
mean-
until 2026,
scores.
he scored,
Right.
and there's no midfielder in the Europe's top 5 leagues that's scoring more goals than
Right.
Pellegrini.
I mean, this guy is everywhere. I see him taking a free kick. I see him heading the ball in. I see him scoring a goal. I mean, I see him on the left side, on the right side. I mean, this guy is everywhere. And that's good also for the national team because he can really give it that. And he scores goals. So I was really, Mourinho, I think is very happy to have him as part of the squad.
Yeah.
He said he wishes he could have 11 of it.
Okay. Also,
Mind games.
Smalling came back,
He's
right?
back, yeah.
He's back. They
Clean
didn't get any. That's right. So that's the problem that I had seen in Roma, that the defense
Leaky.
right. So if Smalling comes back like it was a couple of years ago, I think. I mean, I like Roma. I like, and what Mourinho said is, hey, when I make a substitution, I'm bringing in Calafiori. You know, I'm not bringing Sanchez. I'm not bringing Vidal. I'm not
Did he say
bringing.
this?
Yeah, he said. He goes,
Mourinho
so
mind games.
he goes, so I'm here, but our project is very much different than the project of the other team because I'm trying to build the young players to become men, and I am up in this role. So when we win 3 games, the fans have to understand that we didn't win 30 games. And when we win 4 games, we haven't won 40 games. And when we lose 1 game, we haven't lost everything. So it's okay that I lost to Lazio. But we have a project. I believe in the project. And everybody around the city has been supporting us since I got here. Even an hour before the game, they come to the stadium, they start singing, and they're always behind the team in Trigoria and at the field.
That might be the best thing that I saw this weekend was the Roma fans. The video of the Roma fans, they were so loud. It was beautiful.
It's a lot of enthusiasm. I think if I read correctly, they're actually number 1 as far as stadium attendance, even with the
really?
the
Wow,
limited
that's
capacity.
amazing.
They're
Right, Roma's
enthusiasm.
fans are very
passionate.
passionate about the game, and also, I think the hardest city to be a coach in is Roma. Whether you're coaching Lazio or you're coaching Roma, just look at the past 20 years and look how many coaches Roma has changed after 1 or 2 seasons. In the past, Roma had great coaches like Rudi Garcia, who've had success in other championships. But Roma is very passionate, but also things can turn around within minutes. One game that doesn't go your way or things start going a little bit wrong,
South, yeah.
then the city, the fans will turn against you dramatically.
Why is that, Ludo? Why is it
It's
so
the
demanding?
culture. It's the culture of the city, of the fans.
Explain it to non-Italians or
Explain it to
non-people
me.
that are not
It's,
living in
it's
Italy.
very they're very they're very passionate about their team. They love.
so is
And
every other team.
Napoli
no?
isn't.
Why
Juve
is it
isn't.
different?
Yeah,
Inter
but I-
isn't.
But it's very easy because it's hard. Maybe now a little bit different because the ownership is a foreign ownership, but the fans are very demanding. They feel they have a voice within the club or had a voice within the club in the past that would would tell the club you need to make the changes now. That's why a lot of coaches have left in the past after 1 or 2 seasons because they couldn't get along with the city and the fan base.
So what Mourinho said also is that he heard it from people that they win one game. Oh, this year we're going to win the Scudetto. I says, we only won one game and they think we're going to win the Scudetto. So that's why he's trying to put him down.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is I was at the stadium many years ago and De Rossi made a mistake. Holy cow, there were about 5 or 6 fans next to me. They started cursing, and these are from Roma. And De Rossi is from Roma. I mean, this is your idol. This is because he made a mistake, they cursed him out.
Correct.
So, this is how they change. You would think anywhere else I would think that anywhere else in Italy, if the Maldini made a mistake, if Zanetti made a mistake, if Del Piero made a mistake,
you'll never.
they would not say anything.
Yeah.
The fans would not say anything to them. Or, for Napoli too, even though Napoli is very, very hot and passionate. But
well, yeah.
I couldn't believe this guy. He was cursing out De Rossi. He's from Roma. He's a local kid, and everybody loves him.
Well, the direct
Wow.
descendants from ancient Rome, and we know what happened in the Colosseum. So it's never. No, but I think going off your point, I think the big difference in Rome compared to other cities, besides Juventus and then obviously Milan and Inter, is that your expectations is to win. Right, your expectations to win, but your team is not made to win, and I think in part it's also because those were the last 2 teams that have actually won besides Juventus, Milan, Inter. In 2000 and 2001, Lazio won, and then Roma won the following
the
year.
capital maybe,
So
like
it's the
being the
Roman
capital
capital.
of Italy.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be like this dominant force. Very good points. I think this is what we should do. I think we should each come up with one question for my dad on a team that we already spoke about, so we can get his thoughts on the team. All right? One little question, and then you could give a tidbit on how you felt about the team.
I have the first question. Oh, okay, go.
Yeah,
go,
I'll start off.
go.
I'll start off with Lazio because you already mentioned them. Lazio, you said second place.
Okay, so
He's not gonna let you live.
You had them in second place.
Wait a
so
minute.
forget it.
Okay, this
Oh,
is
boy.
starting the next year. We're gonna make one selection because already they told me. Because don't make it 2, one before and one after. Just make one because now they're gonna go back and say,
You
okay.
see?
So Lazio,
They lost 3-0.
what the hell happened to the midfield? The best midfield, one of the best
I was
midfielders
saying this.
in Italy. What happened to their midfield? That's what we spoke about it, right? Some games they show up and they play great and they win the game, and some games they don't show up. I mean, it's unbelievable how this team with that much talent can play that way and just disappear. Milenkovic, Luis Alberto, I mean, they just disappear from the field. Okay, Immobile was not there, but even the other guy that played, I mean, it's
Gaetano, I think this week
I-
Bologna showed up. They
Okay.
had to show up this week. We were
But
talking about this before.
I know, but
I think Bologna showed up this
they
week.
played better teams than Bologna, and they played very good. I mean, the midfield really played well. And this time, I mean, the guy from Bologna, Barro, I think, what a
Yeah.
goal
Well,
he scored.
we spoke
Musa
about this
Barro.
guy.
Really
What-
great goal.
what
I
a-
think he's one of the best midfielders in
So
Serie A.
what
We
a-
spoke about this
what a
years
beautiful
ago,
goal.
2
He
years
had
ago
2
in a
assists, I
previous
think, as
podcast.
well.
Yes.
But going
I love
back,
that
you know,
couch.
we did speak, right? When they show up, that midfielder show up.
They're one
they
of the
play-
best.
One of the best. So
Michael,
disappointed that Sarri is always got something to complain about. I don't know what it was the complaint. I know it was
61 hours.
He said that they're the only team in Europa League to play 61 hours after their
Not
last
62.
match.
Okay. So I saw something like
He said
that,
we're gonna fight
but
with
I
the
didn't
league.
know the specific. Sarri, stop complaining and play the game, okay? All right? Yeah.
Michael will get you to ask about Milan, then Ludo about Napoli, and then Peter about
Okay.
Inter. Mike,
My
what's your
question
Napoli?
is,
Your Milan question.
I'm sure you've seen the fantastic match, Atalanta-Milan, that ended 3-2 in Milan's favor. My question is, Tonali looked great, but to your knowledge, do you think he deserves a starting spot over Bennacer or over Kessie? What do you think? Because there's a lot of back and forth.
Oh,
to
that's
this.
it. That's very easy. Of course he does.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, of course. But I want to say something about that game. First of all, the goalkeeper is a disaster.
Oh,
That-
Musso.
Oh
Yeah.
my God!
The first mistake.
The first goal,
He fumbled
28
it.
seconds in. The guy takes a ball, which is not even a hard shot,
Yeah.
and you pass the ball.
Right.
He passed the ball to.
It looks like he had ricotta
Pirate,
cheese.
Yeah. That's it. And then on the second goal from Tonali, I mean,
Really?
how can you lose the ball? Always a foul. I mean, you can.
He was sleeping.
I mean, but you turned around and you got so many passes that you can make, and you still trying. What are you trying to do? I mean, they gave him 2 goals, easy goals. But I have to say something about it. AC Milan. I mean, AC Milan has got a good team. It's got a solid team. They're gonna go. They're gonna be there the whole year. Even though this game, I think that it was given. I mean, with the mistakes that they make, but they look really good. I mean, Leao, and you have to understand, Ibra is not there. They're missing some players. Giroud is not there, and this guy Leao is coming through. Rebic is everywhere. He goes right to left. He runs. He makes nice passes. He gave a nice crosses into the area. A nice head ball. So Tonali is playing great. Kessie is got to get his head a little bit strained out because but Pioli is all behind him, so he pushes it. The goalkeeper is fantastic. So yeah, AC Milan is doing a pretty good job.
Guys, also, I would like to also mention, and we can do a little research the past 2 years, regards to Atalanta. When things were not going well for Atalanta, many games, he had that sub, that saint on the bench that he does not have this year, and he's not going to have him for a few months. Muriel.
Well, he came in. I
I
He's
thought he was
back.
hurt.
No,
Yeah,
he's
yesterday
back.
was the first time.
Yeah.
The first time that he
Yeah.
came back.
Yeah.
In the
From
past 2 years, that guy took a lot of.
Right.
I mean, look at the points that Atalanta had when Muriel came in off the bench, and he was able to
He had the most goals off the bench in Europe
change
last
the
season.
game, and how many points
That's a
actually
great point.
Atalanta gained in the past 2 years by just having Muriel on the bench and putting him the last 30 minutes, and he was able to change the game around. And that's going to be a huge factor this year, having a healthy Muriel that could do the same things that he did the past couple of years, and also Zapata's goals are very important to put the ball behind the.
So
behind
Ludo's
the net.
team is in first place, 7 out of 7. Ludo, what's your question to Gaetano about Napoli?
No, probably fans are wondering why I keep when they mention
Ludo has a rash.
when they mention that Napoli is in a certain place.
Gotta
I'm not
do it.
going to mention the number, or they mention a certain word that we don't like to hear. I keep touching because we're very.
But what is the reason why?
We're very superstitious.
What is the reason? What is there like a background to why?
Well,
Like
there is
in
a
America
background.
they say
It's-
knock on wood.
Knock
so
on
like
wood.
what?
Well,
Why?
usually
Why
in
in
Italy-
Italy?
they say
the-
grab
no,
something
no,
else.
the Neapolitans, well,
Toccaferro,
Well, the Neapolitans, when you very superstitious, and you see certain things like you scratch your
Yes.
your groin.
But
and
what's the
when they
reason
do-
for that? Do you
Well,
know?
the reason behind it, I don't know. But
Okay,
also
we have to find out.
the horns, which I know you guys mentioned the magic word, which we don't like to mention. See,
Oh my God, you have it? Can
You gotta show to the camera.
Show the camera. Oh,
it's been in my hand.
It's been from the first round.
I swear to you.
one.
Yeah, shoot,
I
shoot,
swear,
shoot.
I checked a podcast clip, and you had that just tied to your thing.
Right. No, now
none
I
of
have
us-
it in my
none
hands,
of
and
us
I haven't
noticed.
shown it since the
So
beginning.
San Gennaro has got nothing to do with this.
No, so it's superstition. Even when you see, let's say, a funeral pass by, hey, all the dead people rest in peace, and that doesn't happen to you. It's like to get the
They do that in Sicily, Gaetano, or no?
They have other things.
Not that though, right?
Not right. So to get the bad, the
energy,
that,
the energy.
that really
That
want
energy,
you to fail, to by you touching, that means
Yeah.
right. It's like
Anyway,
more intimate
back to
way
you.
of doing it.
Your question
your
to
question?
Gaetano, having said that.
But any question in any
About
For
Napoli.
Napoli.
No, got to be about Napoli.
Oh, it has to be about
Because then I want this to transition to him talking about Napoli. You know what I'm saying?
right. About Napoli, where do you see this team in May? Where do you see this team? How do you see this team?
So
That's a good question.
first of all, Forza Napoli, because
You don't have them top four.
I am. What do you mean? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I am top four.
I thought
Ludo, he had them in 7th before.
I
have them top
previous.
four.
You did it all.
Anyway, Napoli is playing really good.
Yeah.
And even though in the first half, yesterday, they suffered, and Fiorentina did a good job, and they put them through some difficulties.
They were
and
pressuring very high.
They were pressuring high, and they could have scored maybe another goal. I like the way Napoli came back, and that shows a lot of character from Napoli. I think that the coach is another guy that plays into their minds and makes them that they have to work hard. They have to buy into what is selling. I think they do, and is not happy, and he thinks that they have to improve, and he told them exactly where they have to improve. And I think they're doing a great job. And if I'm not mistaken, and maybe maybe he knows, you score 12 goals and you have 1 goal against.
Three again.
You have 3 goals
they
against.
2 of them yesterday against Fiorentina.
Right.
One.
So they
One yesterday.
2-1. Sorry.
Yeah.
So 2 of them beforehand. Sorry
2.
about that.
Okay.
Yes, Juve.
Because
Yes.
I told them,
Fiorentina,
I
and
thought
then
he said
probably
that there was
Genoa, the
12
first
and
game.
1. Okay. So, once again, the defense, if you don't get the goals, usually the teams that get the less goals, they're in first place.
No Manolas yesterday.
What?
No Manolas.
Oh,
yesterday.
That's why they
Ramani scored a
conceded.
goal too.
That's why they
He's been playing
conceded,
great.
though.
So I think Spalletti is doing a very good job. I think he's
Hopefully.
putting a nice team on the field. I think everybody knows their role. Osimhen that guy is really, really good, and the guy is so fast. And he's got everybody in their position. And Spalletti demands respect. When he's in the locker room, you better listen to him. When he talks, you better shut up. So I think all those things, sometimes Napoli gets, Napoli, you can do whatever you want. Not with Spalletti. The players know exactly where they stand. So where do I see them in May? I see them in the top 4. And now that the way they're playing right now, I see them second place.
Ooh.
Finishing second.
No, in May. I see them second place.
He doesn't believe.
Peter.
He doesn't
Not
believe in
finishing.
Napoli.
Peter,
That's good.
let's get
I'm happy with his prediction.
Peter. Question
As
for
long as he
Gaetano
doesn't
about
as long as any of you mention the magic word.
So with Inter, I think the biggest question is Inzaghi, right? Because obviously we know what Conte was able to do with this Inter team. I think the team, for the most part, have made adjustments even without Lukaku, who was the star. But can Inzaghi bring this team to win the Scudetto? Is he the right coach as far as
He was still doing it.
reading the game and knowing how to sacrifice maybe? Because even at times you see he leaves the defense wide open, and Sassuolo or any other team could have done real damage when they have a good day. So is Inzaghi going to be stuck in his ways and playing this offensive style, or is he going to be able to manage and win games the dirty way, the way that Conte has won it?
So I am not a big Inzaghi fan,
As you could tell.
even from the days from Lazio.
He started Limone Inzaghi.
I think Sassuolo, they could have scored the second goal. And the other thing about, and something that I forgot, this is what Spalletti said. He said, when you have 5 substitutions and you're losing 2-0, he goes, before the game was over. Now 2-0, the game is not over, because if you're losing 2-0, you're going to bring 4 players, and they could be 4 offensive players, and you could change the game. And I think Inzaghi, with what he did yesterday, I mean, Dzeko, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The guy came in and he saved Inter. But they have a lot of talent. Inter has got a lot of talent, and with all the talent that you have, I mean, if you don't come in the top, you got to come in the top 3. I think you're still favored for the Scudetto. The only thing that I see a little bit AC Milan a little bit favored than Inter is because of the coach, because of Maldini, because of the team that he's putting there, and I think Pioli is doing a very good job. The only difference is the Inzaghi.
So you think Pioli is better than Inzaghi?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I also
Wow.
think that.
You say the same thing?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's really interesting.
good question.
Would you have said that? Let's say 15 months ago.
No.
Never, right?
No.
Never.
No, I was not a big Pioli fan.
No, no,
Because
he was a
Pioli
mid-table
was one of the
coach.
coach that he won, and then when he started losing, he lost 15 games in a
Yeah.
row. So he did not have that.
He matured.
Right.
He's
When
changed.
you win, you got to keep winning, and you got to instill that to your players. And it's it's the way you motivate your players. And it's not like who said it? It's easy when you. Allegri said it. It's easy when you play against Chelsea. You don't have to motivate the players because it's a
The
big
shirt
game.
does the job. Correct.
It's when you play against Parma, when you play against the smaller team, Venezia, when you play against Salernitana, against that's when you got to really motivate the players, and I think Inzaghi has a problem with that. And Pioli now, I think because he's at AC Milan and because he's got somebody next to him like Maldini, who won everything. Almost everything.
Ibrahimovic
He didn't
as
win.
well.
He didn't win the
Leaders
World
on the
Cup,
field.
but he came close to it. But Maldini won everything else. I think that helps when you go in the locker room and you say something and people look at you and you say, "Oh my God, this guy won everything. He must be right." That's when you buy in.
To be a great coach, you need to have great communication skills.
Yeah.
You need to be a great communicator in today's cultural world in order for the players to
Respect him,
understand, and you have to understand and talk to each players differently and in a certain way in order to get 110% from them, especially when, like Gaetano said, when you play against the smaller
Very
teams,
nice.
to motivate them.
Guys, this was a fantastic podcast. I like it. Let us know if you like the longer style podcast. Ludovico, if you have your top 7, I'm going to take it right now, right before
Top 7. Wow.
He needs a couple of weeks
What
to
do
think
you
about that.
As you're about to say it, I just want to remind everybody, Paramount Plus, make sure you're subscribed to it. You get all the action in Serie A, Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, and so much more. The link is in the top of our description, our special unique link. You're going to get 7 days free trial over there. So make sure you go on and do that. Ludovico, by the way, thank you for coming back. This was
Always my
fantastic.
pleasure.
Hopefully, I know you're a very busy man. We're lucky to get your time when
I
you get
have
there.
the top for all of that.
He's keeping. Wait, do you just automatically keep that in your pocket?
Yeah, because I'm going to put it in the computer and then type it.
It's like
haven't
how
had a
Ludo
chance.
holds the.
I do. I hold it very.
Ludo.
You're not supposed. Well, my top 4 are. And,
Say 4. Say 4 first. Number 4.
Number 4.
Backwards.
Number 4, I would say Lazio.
Lazio, number 4.
Number 4.
Number 3.
Number
He's
3,
right
I
in
would say
this.
Roma.
Whoa! Hold on. You got
Number
Lazio
2.
and Roma.
Number
That's
2.
crazy.
Number 2, I would say Napoli. And the Napoli fans hope they understand what I'm trying to say. And number 1,
Not Juve.
I would say 50-50 between.
Going by 50-50.
Yeah, how was it?
Well, I have to say, I would have to pick one
Champions League.
because of the experience. Then I would pick Inter.
And so Milan
What would it
falls
have
the
been?
5th?
Just from that 55 from 1 to 5.
So who's 5th? Milan is 5th?
Milan is
6th?
5th. Inter,
Juventus.
Napoli, Roma,
7?
Lazio, Milan.
Well, 7th, it's up for grabs. I would say
Fiorentina,
Atalanta
Sassuolo.
at this point.
Atalanta,
I just do
7?
not see Atalanta the same Atalanta
Juve.
that we used of seeing in the past.
So
I
you have
just don't
Milan
see
and
that.
Juventus not in Champions League.
For next year, I do not.
What does everybody else have?
All right, so
Just recap for Ludovico and everybody else.
okay, so Antonio has got Milan, Roma, Napoli, Inter, Juve, Atalanta, Lazio, Fiorentina. You got to give me a number 8. I have Inter, Milan, Napoli third. Today I put him second. Roma, Juve,
switches every
Lazio,
day.
Atalanta, Fiorentina. Pete has got Inter, Napoli, Milan, Roma, Juve, Atalanta, Lazio, Fiorentina. And Mike has got Inter, Milan, Napoli, Juve, Roma, Atalanta, Lazio, Fiorentina.
Where's mine?
Yours, I got to listen to the podcast because I never wrote it down.
I know I had Inter I think it was Inter, Milan,
Inter.
He's writing it out right
Milan,
now. Are you gonna remember?
Napoli, and Juve. I don't remember the rest.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I
the
listened
rest.
to the podcast and Juve. Okay, you got to give me number 8.
Fiorentina,
You better give us-
Sassuolo.
Yes,
Just
I would
give me
say.
some
I would
ideas.
say. I would say Fiorentina. I
We
have a
all
lot of
have the
respect
same-
for Italiano and
Almost
Dio.
everybody's got Fiorentina number 8.
Which would be a very good season, by the
Absolutely.
way. I just want to say
They're
that.
on the
right
left
today.
side of the standings, and that's
Yep.
their goal.
Is that
left
Conference
side
League?
of the
No.
team.
Yeah, which one's Conference League?
5, 6 is Europa League. 7
Seven is
Conference
Conference
League.
But if somebody wins the Euro,
Yeah, then
yeah,
it's
then
an
you get
extra
another
spot.
spot.
Yeah,
Nobody's
exactly.
gonna. I don't think anybody's gonna win.
This guy,
I don't think
this guy
anybody's gonna
immediately
win.
with the bat.
Guys, everyone, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe for more podcasts. Everyone over here, guys, thank you for being with us. Any final remarks?
Yeah, this was good. I came in late, but I got really into it. Maybe I keep coming late. What do you think?
I wanna
Or
try
maybe we
to-
should
should I
get
be
rid of
a from the-
Antonio
I wanna
altogether.
try to-
We'll just leave Antonio in Miami.
Okay.
Ludovico, anything last to say?
No, so far I'm a happy man. Let's just we hope
I'm a happy man.
we hope we can continue like this. I'm very realistic. My feet are solid on the ground. Been there, done that. So
Any-
exactly for me, like a good friend of mine says, my mind. I'm still in August.
Any tips for Spalletti if he's watching this?
Keep doing what you're doing. It's working.
Wow.
If
okay.
it's working, don't change
Don't
it.
change
Guys,
it.
WhatsApp is back.
If it's
Time
not
for us
broken,
to
don't
go.
fix it.
Guys, as always, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.
Ciao,
Ciao,
guys.
That was so fun. I can't believe you were holding that the entire time.
I have to. When you guys mentioned the word, I gotta scratch my feet more.